From Chicago, it's Michael James and Katy Hogan with another edition of the Live from the Heartland show. We do call it Heartland at home during the time of the pandemic. We are really going to welcome all you friends, you neighbors, you relatives. It's time to take the chain from the brain, get back in the people's game. We're going to take you from the lower level to the higher, from the shallower to the deeper, from the one-sided to the many, and from the abstract to the concrete. Today, we've got a couple of great guests. We're going to have Joe Grief of Planned Parenthood, Illinois, and we're going to have musical guest Gerald Alfred of Creole Roots. So good morning to you all, and good morning to you, Katy Hogan.
Boy, that's a heavy promise, Michael, all that stuff that we're going to do in one show.
We'll do our best, as usual.
We will do our best. Let's see. The good news that we're going to share this morning is that in our neighborhood, in our neck of the woods, local elected officials are collecting resources for the incoming and expected Afghan refugees who will be arriving in our neck of the woods, Uptown, Edgewater, Rogers Park, pretty quickly. So if you want to check out the list of what's needed, go to either Senator Simmons, State Senator Mike Simmons, or State Rep Kelly Cassidy, our guest from last week, or our own Alderwoman, Maria Haddon. They have the list of what's needed, and you can drop it off at the Broadway office of Osterman, Simmons, and Kelly.
Hey, tell us about Washington, D.C. this week.
Everything going on. It's huge. The infrastructure bill, late last night, today is Friday, tomorrow, you're going to be hearing this on Saturday morning, so Nancy Pelosi wisely put off the vote for the infrastructure bill because there is a power struggle or a ideological struggle, if you will, going on between the progressive Democrats and the regular Democrats about whether or not these two things should be passed together. The progressives believe that both Build Back Better and the infrastructure bill need to be passed at once. They did manage to fund the government for another week or two. While this stuff is a real headache for most of us to grasp, it's really important to let our voices be heard, because God knows the corporate lobbyists are filling the halls of DC, of the Capitol right now. So if you're inclined, place a call. Thank Pramila Jayapal for her incredible leadership of the Progressive Caucus. She has been holding fast. She's been incredibly articulate on the news every night. Both our local congressperson, Jan Schakowsky, and Chuy Garcia are also holding fast with the progressives that these bills need to be passed together. They are entirely popular, these bills, and you would not notice that from the way the mainstream media is covering it. They're only covering the fight, as they call it, between the Democrats. They're not covering what's in the bill and what is supported by most Americans. So just by the way, between Pelosi, Jayapal, and Stacey Abrams, we suddenly have some very strong women standing up for us. I support them.
I do too.
I thank them very much.
Okay,
so
a little bit of a quick reefer report. It was reported in the Washington Post a little while ago that there are greener pastures. Marijuana jobs are becoming a refuge for people leaving retail and restaurant workers.
Huh.
So just keep that in mind. If you're looking for a job, there might be some new job opportunities opening up throughout the land. And a little twist on our usual reporting on climate change. Usually it's pretty negative. One thing I did read in Reuters over a week ago, that while coffee is largely produced in the coffee belt located between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn, where countries such as Brazil, Colombia, Ethiopia, and Vietnam have provided the best climate for coffee trees, which need constant heat to survive. Climate change is altering that a little bit, with temperatures around the globe changing. It's harming many crops in numerous locales, but opening up possibilities for other regions. That includes California and Florida, where farmers and researchers are looking into growing coffee. And it's actually already happening.
Wow. That is
A
very
little bit of a
interesting.
change. I mean, it's going to, there's a lot of negativity around this climate change, but it certainly will change what goes on in different regions.
True that. Unfortunately, we also this week had another U.S. steel chemical spill in Indiana that has the environmentalists calling for further and growing protection of the Indiana dunes. Let's see. Let's get local. County, Michael, you got anything?
Well, the one thing that I think is important to call people's attention to is that both Northwestern and Loyola University need to radically step up protections for victims of sexual assault and alter the practices that often seem to protect the accused instead of the victims. Pay attention, it's in the news, and it's something that we want to see changed.
I was going to ask you if you
Oh, fill us in on that, Kate. I'm sorry I missed that. I was heading down the script.
we're asking you to call the undecided Cook County commissioners, which includes my own, Larry Sufferden, some other friendlies like Bridget Gaynor, Luis Arroyo, Frank Aguilar, Deborah Sims. These people need to commit to the Indigenous Peoples Day vote. They need to be called before October 5th, which is a new moon coming up this week. Also, last week, because we had a full show, we didn't get to something we wanted to get to because Michael and I used to buy a lot of tortillas from El Milagro. Last week, they were locked out in an action that the workers took, and they're looking for better working conditions and better pay. And they're also continuing to march with their supporters as we speak to add to both of those requests the end to sexual harassment on the job. So
on the COVID front, the vaccine mandates at the workplace seem to be working, especially as far as healthcare workers go. Layoffs have begun for vax refusers, not only at United Airlines and at a North Carolina healthcare agency, but around the country. It's time that people get the vaccination, and it appears that once they're really pushed, they're getting it. A lot of people who have refused suddenly got it when their jobs were at stake, and we're for that.
yeah, we'll see how it works with the police in Chicago who are under a mandate. And
yeah, Katie, you pointed it out, maybe last week, maybe not, but that the least vaccinated areas of our city are where there are most city employees.
Yeah, and I don't know, I can't remember where I saw that or heard it to give you the background on it, but we'll look for it. It's clear on the maps, though.
No, it's around. I heard it from a few people already, and I could go look it up on my phone, but that would be inappropriate at this time.
It would indeed.
So I just want to say, I'm going to just say, you are listening to Live from the Heartland show. We're here on WLUW 88.7. Stay tuned.
And we're back to the Sisters Doing It for Themselves, which has been going on an awfully long time, I must say. We have with us today Joe Greep of Planned Parenthood of Illinois, who's going to talk about the Women's March, which is happening shortly after this show ends. So we're encouraging you to turn off the radio and get on the L and go down to Daly Center. Tell us, what's the schedule of activities for starters for this morning in Daly Plaza, Joe, and welcome to.
Thank you. I'm really glad to be here with you all. Today's schedule, we have an hour-long program, a speaking program. It will kick off around noon and run to about 1 o'clock. We have a great lineup of speakers, abortion providers, I think somebody from our local abortion fund, activists, as well as some artists and performers, so that we can get people inspired and really excited to be here. And then at the end of the hour-long program, I believe we are going to step off into a march. So very excited about the event. It's been a big coalition effort with a lot of activists and grassroots and progressive organizations partnering with abortion providers to make this happen today.
Let me get right into it. Can you speak a little bit about the Texas law that engendered today's march and what the goal of demonstrating might be at this time?
Right. So Texas, as many people have heard, passed a law called SB 8 earlier this summer. It went into effect on September 1st. The law is a ban on abortion after 6 weeks. In practice, it's practically a full abortion ban in Texas because most people who are pregnant don't even know that they're pregnant before they are at the 6-week mark. And so very, very few abortions are legally allowed to be performed in the state of Texas right now. The abortion providers did challenge the law up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court declined to stay the law, put it on pause, and they let it go into effect on September 1st, which is distressing in and of itself because it is blatantly unconstitutional when you look at 50 years of legal precedent under Roe v.
Right.
The law went into effect on September 1st, which I believe was a Wednesday. By Friday, the 3rd, Planned Parenthood of Illinois had already seen 2 Texas patients in our health centers here in the northern half of Illinois, which is quite a ways for people to travel. And since that time, we've seen a continued trickle of patients coming in from Texas. The dangerous part of laws like this is that abortion bans, they don't stop abortion, they just make them very difficult to get. And they also disproportionately harm people who are already at risk, people who live, at low income levels, people who live in rural areas and cannot access care, Black and brown and BIPOC people who already face many barriers because of systemic racism within our healthcare system and just general society, LGBTQ people who are trans, non-binary, gender non-conforming. These are the people most deeply impacted by laws like this. And it's just really unjust.
There's one other part to this law that I find odious to the max. Could you talk about that? I assume you're talking about our so-called bounty, right? Yes. I'm snitch factor.
Yeah, I'm not a legal scholar, but I will tell you this law makes me wish that I was, so I could better understand what is going on here. Yeah. The SB 8 law is unique in a really terrible way, and that not only does it ban abortion, but it allows basically anybody to sue somebody they believe helped a person get an abortion. So patients, I believe, are carved out of that. I don't believe you can sue the actual pregnant person who went to get the abortion. But you could theoretically sue the Uber driver who drove them to the health center. You can sue a family member or a friend who helped them pay for care or get them to care. It's deeply troubling. It's
truly. So
unheard of. It's unheard of.
Yeah, really, it's incredible. It's just unconscionable. Yeah. I've taken part of these, the Women's March, the first one right after Trump's inauguration, which was moving beyond belief and tremendous in Chicago, huge. Mm-hmm. The second one, similarly. The third one that happened in October rather than the January time was timed specifically to stress March to the polls to defeat Trump and his other anti-women forces. Is there a similar call to action from today's march?
Yeah, so today's march is a coalition effort, which I said, so we have a lot of really great folks involved helping plan it. Our calls to action, there are a couple big ones. Right now, there is the Women's Health Protection Act that is up at the federal level, and I believe the U.S. House of Representatives passed it. It's now to the Senate. We need everybody to call their senators and push and ask them to do whatever they can to get that passed. The Women's Health Protection Act would protect abortion access and access to sexual and reproductive health care, even if Roe does fall next year. So that's big. Mm-hmm. In Illinois, we are grateful to be, at the moment, a deeply pro-choice state. We have a lot of protective laws, such as the Reproductive Health Act that passed in 2019. The RHA declares that abortion is healthcare, not criminal activity. That being said, we do have one remaining barrier to care in Illinois, and that's the Parental Notice of Abortion Act, which requires that any minor who is seeking abortion care must notify a parent or legal guardian ahead of the procedure. As you can imagine, like many of these abortion barrier laws, they're meant to put barriers in place to make it more difficult to access care. PNA does a provision that allows minors to seek a judicial bypass and still get care without involving a parent. But that means we're taking a teenager and we're forcing them to go before a judge to ask permission of a judge to go get essential health care and to do so in a very timely manner.
Yeah.
And since parental notice of abortion went into effect in Illinois years ago, the huge majority of requests have been granted. I don't know the exact number. I mean, I think it's something like 99% of requests have been granted, which really just proves the point that this is just an unnecessary barrier, because the judges are talking to these young people and seeing that they are capable of making these choices for themselves, and they are capable of making these choices, and they deserve to access the care they need when they need it. So we are also asking folks to call their state legislators and push them to repeal the Parental Notice of Abortion Act as soon as possible so that all people can access essential health care when they need it.
And regular listeners remember hearing Kelly Cassidy talk to that just last week. Sorry, Michael, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to ask Joe, how can people participate if they're unable to, go to the march today?
Yes, that's been a big question for us. We are working on accessibility. We are going to live stream the event tomorrow. I believe 2 of our coalition partners are planning to live stream as long as cell phone signal allows it. Sometimes if you get too many people in one space. But SEIU Healthcare and I believe Indivisible Illinois are both planning to live stream the event on Facebook. You can look at the Planned Parenthood of Illinois, Planned Parenthood Illinois action page. We'll be sharing those live streams. I think all coalition partners will to lift it up. All of our coalition partners, in accordance with that live stream, will also be very active on social and lifting up those calls to action so that people who are at home, whether they're at home for disability reasons, we want to make sure our disabled supporters can participate, as well as people who may be a little weary of coming out into a crowd in an ongoing pandemic, which is fair. We'll just ask everybody to follow our coalition partners on Facebook and social media, and we're going to try and engage our at-home supporters as much as possible.
One of the calls to action, I think, when I spoke to someone else in Planned Parenthood was to codify Roe. Could you just go into that just a little more, what that looks like, what it sounds like, and what we as supporters might need to know to push for that with electeds? Yep,
I think that is essentially the Women's Health Protection Act.
Right.
So that access to sexual and reproductive health care isn't dependent solely on a Supreme Court decision, but is actually federal law. Because now if Roe falls next summer, which is a terrifying prospect, the issue will go down to the states. And we know that many states are just waiting for Roe to fall so that their trigger laws take effect and abortion is banned.
Yeah. What other actions can people take to further support abortion access? I know there are many.
I think it's really important for folks to support abortion providers and support local abortion funds. Abortion funds are nonprofit organizations that work through a reproductive justice lens, and they raise funds to help people who may need to travel for care or need other resources. They raise money and help people get those resources they need so that they can get to providers like Planned Parenthood of Illinois and Family Planning Associates and Hope Clinic in Illinois. We have a lot of great independent providers as well. But really just support as best you can. Volunteer with your local abortion providers, support your local abortion funds and volunteer with them. If not everyone can make a monetary donation, and really just continue to push our legislators at both the state and federal level. We really, really need to enact new strong laws, and in Illinois protect the laws that we do have on the books now. The RHA, the Reproductive Health Act, it was a huge win in Illinois a couple of years ago. We're deeply grateful to all of our pro-choice champions in the Illinois General Assembly who helped pass that and sponsor it. But we can't get complacent because one turn in an election and a different governor and a different General Assembly and the Reproductive Health Act could theoretically be dismantled. So we don't want to get complacent in Illinois.
Right.
Joe, Planned Parenthood is clearly one of our revered elder organizations, as it's meant sexual freedom to young women by making the pill available. then by promoting all reproductive rights, including access to legal and safe abortions. How does Planned Parenthood Illinois and the larger organization lobby elected officials, both state by state and even nationally, given a full court press on the federal government when it's called for?
Yeah, that's a good question. So Planned Parenthood Action Fund is our national body. It's a 501c4 political action group, and they are deeply involved in the politics and the lobbying and ensuring that our elected champions feel our support and also, hear our demands. On the local level, our 501c4 Planned Parenthood Illinois Action does similar work at the state level. This past session, Planned Parenthood Illinois Action was supportive of PNA repeal, which I talked about earlier, parental notice of abortion. We helped pass the Keeping Youth Safe and Healthy Act bill, which provides comprehensive sex education for Illinois students. Did a lot of great work in helping support the Illinois Black Caucus and maternal mortality and health bills in Illinois. So we've been doing a lot of good work at the state level, but donations to those political organizations do continue to support that work, continue to support voter registration drives, continue to support lobbying work, and trying to make sure that Illinois stays a progressive bastion for people.
Joe, that's tremendous. Thank you for that great answer. I like seeing younger women like yourself standing up to this fight. It was a fight when I was a younger woman. We were doing this fight. In fact, the Roe decision came down on my birthday. So every single birthday since 73, there have been demonstrations pro and con on my birthday. I just want to ask you just a personal, how did you arrive? How did you wind up working for Planned Parenthood? Where'd you grow up? What's your feminist source, I guess?
So my background is a little scattered. I'm from Illinois. I'm from the south suburbs of Chicago. As a child, I moved around a lot. I lived in Hawaii and Texas. I was an Army brat for a few years. But I did end up, Chicago has always been home. So I, went to university here. I think like a lot of young women, going to college helped open my eyes to a lot of different things. I do come from a very conservative family. So I'm a little bit of an outlier there. And then after college, I lived in New York City for several years. And that's when I got involved with Planned Parenthood. I volunteered as a clinic escort at Planned Parenthood New York City for about 5 years, was involved in their activist council there. And reproductive health has just always been really, really important to me. I later worked for a midwife. I was a midwife's assistant, so I got sort of on the ground in the clinical work, then got back into healthcare communications, which eventually led me to Planned Parenthood of Illinois. So I've been with this organization about 1.5 years. I'm super excited to be here. I also overwhelmed to be here. It was an interesting time to join the organization right before the pandemic hit, and now with all these very, very real and very severe threats to Roe v. Wade. But honestly, there's nowhere else I'd rather be. We need people in this fight. We need people to care. I have 2 daughters of my own. I was able to plan them because of the support of organizations like Planned Parenthood. Yeah. And now, we're raising them up to hopefully, carry the mantle further.
Well, Joe Grief, thank you so much. And Planned Parenthood of Illinois, thank you so much for being there. And for, we'll see you in the over there at Daly Plaza shortly. We invite all women and people who love women and care about their freedoms to join us. Shine on, you crazy diamond, shine on.
Right on, sister.
Yeah, thank you for having me today. This was great. And looking forward to seeing you all at Daly Plaza.
And we want to thank all the people out there, wherever you may be, listening in to the Live from the Heartland show here on WLUW 887. Okay, welcome back to more Live from the Heartland. Now, Creole Roots. It's a Haitian band based here in Chicago, and they're set to open on Wednesday night, October 5th at the Old Town School of Folk Music. So good morning to you, brother. How are you doing today?
I am doing good. Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here, to talk about Creole Roots And don't forget, we have to talk also about Haiti.
Don't
And,
worry.
but yeah,
We're gonna go
We
there.
won't go there.
yeah.
Tell us about the band first, how you came together, how long you've been together, and your road to us, where you'll be appearing at the Old Town School this Wednesday, which is also a new moon, by the way.
Okay, it's a long story, but we're gonna make it as short as possible. So I was part of a big band from Haiti called Bookman Experience. So we've been touring the world. You know, they go, I mean, you can check them out. They go all over the place, you know. And I spent 20 years working with them as a lead guitar player. And then in maybe 2012 or 2013, while I was on tour, and I met my wife. So, and this is how I become, you know, like I established myself in Chicago. And I had to eventually leave the band because I have to live here in Chicago right now. So my plan was to keep continuing working on the music, because the music, we have two types of music in Haiti. We have, I mean, when I say two types, we have the Haitian popular music, which is the compa, and we have a variety of music, which is the African rhythm. You know, when we were slaves, we came to the Caribbean. It's so rich, you know, we African, it's so rich. And what I experienced, I said, this music is so rich, you know, we have to share it with the rest of the world. So when after I leave Bookman Experience, I'm like, I said to my wife, I have to keep doing that. I have to, you know, put a band together. It wasn't easy, but we still heading toward the right direction right now. And there's a little bit at the end of the tunnel, I would say. And now we keep working. And I mean, of course, we go through different set of musicians. But right now, we do have a core group that's willing to, and I think they definitely understand the work I'm doing, and they're on board now. They want to keep going and with the band so we can grow as a band. And we actually played at the Old Town Folks of Music. It was a long time ago. I mean, maybe 6 years ago. And, you know, of course, you know, it was the beginning. It wasn't good enough. I mean, but we've been working on our craft, and we have a set of musicians that are committed, and it's definitely going the right direction. And I would say.
Gerald, in the video of the Solitude tune that we came in with, there's a familiar backdrop. Now, did you film that right here in our neighborhood at Loyola?
Oh, definitely. Everything has to be in Rogers Park. We wanted to highlight the beauty of Rogers Park. I mean, to tell you the truth, this is my sanctuary. I love to be at peace. And I would go there to have my walk every day. And when we were about to shoot, I told Janet, my wife, I told her, you know what, this is where we're gonna film the video. So we have to take time to highlight the beauty of Rogers Park. And we really appreciate people really appreciate that too. It was beautiful.
It might be Katy swimming in the background.
Yeah, unfortunately not. So when you say that you have put this band together as a result of deciding to stay in Chicago, because the big band is still out there, probably.
Yes, they're still out in Haiti right now. They'll keep touring the world, but they're still in Haiti now because the chaotic situation going on in Haiti. Maybe they can't get out, but I think I talked to one of them. I think they have some date in the States.
So let's talk about Haiti now, Gerald, because it's really, I mean, we're definitely going to remind people to go to Old Town School before we end this interview. But really, the situation that arrived at our borders a couple of weeks ago, and suddenly some Americans who don't necessarily pay attention to the political situation that predated that moment are just looking at, you know, okay, if we got 14,000 Haitians at the border, where did this come from? And And why are we seeing these horrific videos of people on horseback, which is a whole nother thing. But can you talk to us about the Haiti post-earthquake and the assassination? I mean, are there just gangs running the country now or what?
Okay, the situation the degradation of the situation in Haiti start, I mean, right after, I would say when the Duvalier left power and we get 86. And it's just a spiral. We're just going down and down. It's like free falling to me. So the problem is there's an elite in Haiti. The thing is they control everything. I mean, I have no problem with what they call a bourgeois elite, but in every country, these people who are controlling the economy and everything, they reinvest their money, in good stuff like education or infrastructure and stuff. But these people, they just keep making the money in the mud and they don't care less. They're careless about everybody else. They just keep making money and save their money in the big banks in what you call it, Switzerland, and they don't invest in the youth, in education, infrastructure. This is why they control the politician also, because if I invest in your campaign and stuff, you owe me something in return, and what is gonna be the control of the politic power. So they already have the economic power and they control the politician also. So it's just a spiral. It's a vicious circle. So we need, like I said, every voice count. We need people, real people to really talk about the situation of Haiti, because it's just going from worse to chaotic right now. Like I said, I have my place in Carrefour in Haiti. I can't go there because I have to pass through Matisson, and it's a gang zone. The gang control everything, and they could have invested the money in infrastructure, education for the youth and everything. No, they invest money and they invest the money now in guns. So when there's a chaotic situation, the government can go through them and ask them to pay their fair share, taxes and stuff. So it's better, it's very good for them right now, what's going on in Haiti. They don't want no change.
How can it be good for them? How can it possibly be good for them, Gerald, to have such chaos and people in such fearful conditions that they can't even leave their house? I mean, how can they think this is good for the country?
Because the bottom line is I want to make as much money as I can, and I don't care much. I don't care much about people.
How can they make money when people aren't going to work? How can they make money when everything's in a standstill? I mean, did they support the assassination, for example, the elites, or was that a surprise?
To be honest, I think they're a lot of them are part of it. I mean, come on, the guys. I mean, it was not a saint. He has his own problem, but he was going after them. And from there, they already know he was gonna die. So many people were talking about it. The was gonna die because nobody has never done this before as being a president, because he was kind of going after them to pay their fair share because they control everything, everything in terms of the economy of the country.
Gerald, let me ask you about Aristide, because he was kind of forced out from power. I don't know if he's someone that you looked up to. From my view, as a kind of a progressive dude trying to stay on top of what's going on in the world, Aristide seemed like a good guy to me. And I thought that the U.S. played a negative role. Fill me in a little bit on that. And who do you look to for some kind of change at this point?
I love that question. Now, I think to answer the first part of your question, I believe in the first step of President Aristide. He was, he had good intention, to run the country. But the system somehow, messed him up. And second version, I didn't believe. And matter of fact, he's the one who started with that to me, because in order to protect himself against the coup d'etat, but he started giving gun to a lot of people, to protect himself. And it was a chaotic situation because, think about it. You have civilians who they don't have any training whatsoever, and they have gun. It's just going to be chaotic. And it started with President Aristide. I think all other presidents after that, in order to secure the power, just keep giving gun to, the parties. So it is, like I said, it's keep going on and on. And right now we come to a place where it's just chaotic. I think that's what I said. I know our voice need to be heard. It's just insane right now because no one living in the state should be going back to Haiti right now because that's how dangerous it is. You go there, you have 90% chance of being kidnapped. If you don't pay the money, you're gonna get killed. I can't go back home now. That's what happened in Haiti right now. And I apologize, guys. It's just one of the situations. I can stop it. I have to talk about it whenever I have a platform.
No need to apologize. That's part of why we want to hear from you.
It is crucial. They have to talk about Haiti. I've seen on TV, they talk about Afghanistan, they talk about other places. It's like they ignore us. That's why the people, they're leaving the country. They have no place to live. Think about it. If you're a young guy, you live in a ghetto where they have gangs, you have two choices. Either join them or you leave the place, go to a different place, or you die.
Yeah.
Because they want to keep multiplying, so they control everything, these gangs.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening right now. There's a gang called Katsamaozo in La Plaine. They control all the area. They control everything. The police can't face them. It's just insane. I don't know where these guns are coming from. It makes no sense to me. These people they don't have food, they don't have clothing, they don't have anything. They have a gun that's worth of maybe $5,000. No, there's a reason for that. Some people just want the chaos to stay there in order to make more money, and it's just insane.
It's unbelievable. Gerald, what's the population of Haiti roughly? Do you know? And
right now, I don't know. I don't want to say. I don't know. I don't want to give any bad numbers.
I didn't want that.
I can give you an estimate. It probably should be right now over
10,981.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I apologize, guys.
No. Don't apologize. It was a trick question to throw at you right then.
Yeah, because I'm not disconnected, but in terms of numbers,
no problem.
I'm not there to know how the population is growing. I don't want to give any wrong numbers.
Not to worry. This is the thing, Gerald. You are part of a huge community just in Chicago. There, I know for sure we have a huge Haitian community. Given starting with our first resident, Jean-Baptiste Point-Gustavo.
He's the one. He's the founder of the place. I'm proud of that.
Indeed, you should be. And we have a Haitian community center here in Rogers Park. And I'm just thinking that the Haitians in diaspora around the planet are probably more than what are living in the small part of the island that you
Oh,
occupy.
definitely. I think so too. I think so
Yeah.
too. And this we're all suffering as Asian. We're suffering because think about it. There's no place like home. And now you can even go back home to see the people you grew up with, to see your family, to see your house, to see. It's just
Yeah, it's
just
incredible.
mind-blowing. It's just painful. I feel it every day. Sometimes I cry. And sometimes, I put myself back up. I said, okay, we have to fight, and I have to use every platform we have to let the voice of Haiti heard, to know, so the rest of the world know about what's going on in Haiti, and they can do something, help do something about it. I know we have our part to play as Asian, but we need help.
Yeah.
We need help.
So the scene that we just recently saw that we referred to at the beginning on the border, what we learned, all of us for the first time after that news broke, was that so many Haitians that arrived at the border there were actually 2 or 3 or 6 years removed from their home island, having already left it to go to South America for a better situation, or all over for that matter. And they wind up on the border here. And I think that what you and I talked about yesterday was the difference between welcoming the Afghan refugees and what's
the Haitian refugee, the Haitian refugees. It's two different treatment.
Yeah.
It's two different treatment. We hope that people understand Haitian people are good people, and we need more respect, more. We need more. We need to be a little. We need to have more respect. They treat us like dogs, and I know there's so much going on in Haiti, and we always project of the wrong image. But think about it. That's not the truth. That's not the reality. Asian people are fighters. They will keep fighting till they die. That's who you are. That's who we are. But the thing is, when stuff are going bad, the projection, on the outside is the same. They're gonna see you. Oh, these people are crazy. No, there's a reason for that. We have to go to the source to understand it. We, the first Black Republic, I know I'm not gonna make a historical, but we're the first Black Republic. We teach the rest of the world how to be free. And it was not a good example. And some people say they may just keep dying, And isn't it amazing? We have to do something to value the Asian people, because we are good people. And Asian people are always successful wherever they go. They're always successful because they hard worker. And we just need the world to hear what's going on in Haiti. And we will do that. We use our platform, any platform. Like when I'm gonna play at the Old Town, I'm gonna remind them about what's going on. We need that.
Well, let's remind people that you are in fact a musician.
Okay, well, we can come back to the music. The band was founded on 2014. Like I told Janet, my wife, we have to do something, and we start looking for musicians, and we went through a lot of musicians because some of them didn't understand the concept of the music. Some of them, just because of time, people are always busy in Chicago. But we didn't get discouraged. We keep working, and we were able to find Chrissy. She's a good singer, and she's actually the lead singer. I'm not a singer. I'm trying, but she's the lead singer of the band. I'm much more comfortable playing my guitar. But when she come, it was like a deliverance. So we start work.
And you are opening for another Haitian musician. Say his name.
It was Josué.
Yeah.
He's a great
He's
roots
a big
artist.
star,
He
right?
came from the same era as the band I was playing. These are leaders. This band is like a movement. You know, it's not only about music. It's about culture. It's about spirituality. It's about what they did. They went to the Laku. They learned the music. They become voodoo priests literally. And they learn the music. The music, they actually mix it up with, you know, with other instrument, and you know, they become, you know, make the music become like mainstream. And it was like a revolution in the music industry in Haiti when Bookman Experience got out, and they then since then they keep touring the world. It was in the 80s, they keep touring the world as one of the greatest Asian band ever. And I'm proud to be in part of, you know, of that big project. I spent 20 years with them. We had ups and downs, but for the most part, it was one of the greatest experience of my life. You know, he helped me understand more what's going on into the music business too.
So we just want to say thank you because we're running out of time here. It's been great
thank you.
To hear everything from you, Gerald. And it's going to be a great night of music at the Old Town School this Wednesday, October 6th. And I hope to go and see you with.
You have to come. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna have dimension. Ewan Josué is good. He's a big Asian art. These guys bring this. Sometimes people get in trance when you see them performing.
I was afraid of that.
Don't be afraid. It's
Gerald, will you say the title of the song that we're going out to? The Moins
Actigeant. It's like a jazzy Caribbean song.
Yeah.
It's kind of jazzy. And Solitude it's like a upbeat song, like a zouk song, you know, where people can dance. But it's a sad story, actually. It's a girl looking for the perfect person to live with.
Right. Hey, it happens all the time.
That's why I wrote this song. I know I've seen it. You know, I'm like, okay, I'll have to write a song about it.
We want to thank Gerald Alfred of Creole Roots, the Haitian band that's playing this Wednesday at Old Town School. We will see you again, sir, and our prayers and hopes are with
on the beach.
People.
We'll see you on the beach at Loyola Beach.
Oh, I can't wait. When I'm done, I'm gonna go get my walk, get my 10,000 steps. You'll see me on the beach walking.
You and me both.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Les jardins, elle plante toute journée. Moi pour graine promener, moi pour souci traîner. Yo dis moi son fouguet, yo relève déplimer. Mais sans yo pas même connaît, coulangeli sonner, qu'elle nous m'a connaît.
So, nice music, huh? that was a significant thing to have him on right now and to hear that sad story about Haiti. I appreciate him coming on.
I'm looking forward to going to see that show, October 6th, Town
Yeah.
School of Folk Music.
Events coming up. We've mentioned it before, and we will hopefully have Marguerite on soon to talk about it. Hot House kicked off a year-long celebration of education and Paulo Freire centenary in film, music, and reading. Look for it at hothouse.net, and we will get you more information upcoming. What, Michael?
Well, those people who are actually listening to the show or listening to it on radio or streamed today, Saturday, we encourage you right after the show to head on down to the Support Women's Reproductive Rights at the Daily Center. Noon, get on the L, head on downtown.
Just got word this morning. Our thoughts and prayers are with the family and friends and the entire community that loves the inimitable and indefatigable Timuel Black, Dr. Black, as he enters hospice. We love you, Timuel.
We love you, Tim, and we do have you on the show a couple times. You're in our heart. I want to talk a little bit about the Bears. I got a lot of sun coming in here. There's a lot of talk about the Bears possibly moving out to the Arlington racetrack, which is a wonderful facility, and we're really sorry that it's being closed down. But the idea of the Bears leaving Chicago is not a pleasant thought. The governor has actually been critical of it, and two state representatives, Michael Luski and Cam Buckner, have filed a resolution calling on lawmakers to reject any plan that would spend public money on a new stadium for the Bears.
Yeah.
We're going to keep you posted on this because it's going to be going on for a while because.
Well, I just saw this thing on Facebook today, thanks to my sister. Michael, stop moving. You're making everybody dizzy.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Just stay put.
I'm going to get some curtains.
News that the Bears appear poised to move to Arlington Heights upset some folks, except that being said, keep in mind that they only move 1.1 yards at a time. So this might take a while. Okay.
Okay, on a sad note, two former members of Rising Up Angry, the political organization that I was involved with for a number of years before we started the Heartland, two of our members have passed, Richie Pace and John Hendrickson. They both did a lot of good work for the people. We're really sorry to learn of their passing. Our hearts and our prayers are with them and their families.
Okay, and before we go out to our normal going out song, Our World by Twin Peaks, we want to thank you for joining us this morning. For over 25 years, we've brought you live from the Heartland, now called Heartland at Home. We broadcast every Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Central on Chicago's WLUW 88.7 FM, also streaming live from WLUW.org. We are archived on our own channel, youtube.com/heartlandmedia. And now on Spotify and Google Podcasts, type in Live from the Heartland. Every once in a while, we are cablecast all week long on CAN TV as well. We want to thank our Live from the Heartland team, Luis Mejia Aarons and Lynn Orman Weiss. You both shine. Thank you. And we ask you all to do good in the world.
But the world needs all the good that we do.
All power.
All power to the people.